All right, we're gonna do a short series of yin postures today for the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, which ties in with your self-confidence, your self-esteem, the way you get things done. Has to do with your willpower, your inner strength, your confidence, and really your ability to cope too. It's tied in with the digestive system, so that kind of makes sense if you think of it in terms of sometimes when something happens, something bigger, you need a moment to digest it. So if we're having energy issues in the third chakra, it might show up as digestive issues. Ties in with some of the other internal organs in that area, but I think for most of us, in terms of manifesting in a way that we'll feel it, that would be something you would notice. So we're going to do just a few poses, looking on moving that energy a little bit. We're going to start with cat-cow. So you think about solar plexus, right? Top of the abdomen, close to the tip of the sternum there. So that's the energy center we're looking to activate and bring some flow and some openness to. So a couple cat-cows. You can just inhale and let your belly drop, lift the crown of the head, the heart, and the tailbone up. And then as you breathe out, round your spine up towards the ceiling. Let your chin and tailbone tuck naturally. So just do that a couple times to your own breath. This is the basic posture. You could always bring in that side-to-side movement or anything else that organically feels like it's going to help you open up. Okay, just two more, I think. One more time through. And then emptying out. And we'll come back to neutral. So if we know the location of the chakra and that it's affecting the digestive systems, of course, any kind of twist is going to help activate and bring energy go. So we're going to start with threading the needle, which is a relatively simple posture. It's actually one of my favorites. I break it out in class all the time. It's a twist, so you'll feel it like belly button up, but it helps create some more ease in the shoulders, the upper back, and the chest. So inhale, just take your left arm up towards the ceiling, press through your right palm and stretch, and then take the left hand and thread it behind the right wrist. If you can come down all the way to the shoulder and ear, that can be very comfortable. You could use a block there, right? You could use a block underneath the ear or the shoulder if you need to. But coming on down, and we won't hold it for too long, maybe a minute or two on each side. So allowing yourself to breathe naturally, noticing how the breath affects the posture. You can close your eyes. And you might, when you're moving through postures, particularly when you have a focus on a certain chakra, seeing how you sense the energy in your body, and it could be that you don't, and that's okay, but just paying attention to what you feel or don't feel and the location of it. Give it a few more breaths. You can take this same posture from child's pose, which would be my hips back to my heels. I like it here. It's definitely a little more intense for me with the twist. So I usually take it with the hips up, but you can take it with the hips down too. Good. Stay for another breath on this side. And then we'll switch it out. So as you exhale, you come back up. So I'm going to take you through these relatively quickly. As always, you can hold them as long as you want to. We'll take the right arm up now, press through your left palm, stretch and reach towards the ceiling, and then let your right hand thread through and behind your left wrist. And I didn't throw out variations. Left hand can rest softly in the mat. If you press into it, you're going to feel a little more deepening of the twist. This hand can also come behind the back. Same result, a little deepening of the twist. Good. But you can just stay right here and close your eyes and breathe. Energetically, this quarantine has been a very strange time for myself, and I've talked with some friends as well. Just really, really very different than what I'm accustomed to, and not consistent, rather sporadic. And I would say I have felt it in ways that were both very positive and ways that felt a lot more challenging and not so positive. So coming back to these practices, right? Coming back to my mat, meditation. I love to be outside, nature. These different things that can ground us, and whatever that might be for you, is so important. I think right now, I think it's always important, but even more important now. I notice really quickly when I step away from that, from making kind of grounding part of my daily practice. And right now, it needs to be a bigger part of my daily practice. That's what I'm finding. Give it a few more breaths, guys. Good. Maybe another inhale. Awesome. With your exhale, come on back up. Oh, goodness. We're going to come into half saddle. So half saddle. You have a few options from here. You could use a block if you want a little lift in your hips, but we're going to have one leg extended and one leg bent back. That's kind of what we're looking for here. Maybe I should have done it on the other side so you can see what it looks like, right? One leg extended, one bent back. So if my hips were lifted a little bit, it's going to be less, right? Less on the knee, less bend there. So a block or even two blocks, if that's helpful for you. And this can be your pose right here. We're not going to hold it for a really long time. If it's available, you could come back to your elbows. Definitely deeper stretch in the quad. You feel that right away. A little back bending action, so some heart opening is happening as well. And you can see how it kind of opens up this area we've been talking about. If you have a bolster, this is an awesome place to have a bolster. Just take that right behind your sacrum. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say this is the way to go, guys. But up to you. Remember, you can roll a yoga mat, put a blanket on top of it, and it can serve as a bolster if you don't have one. You might have a pillow or a heavier blanket that you can roll and fashion a bolster out of. And we'll just hold this for a few breaths. Yellow is the color that we associate with the solar plexus chakra, Mani Pura. Fire is the element. Which, you think about it, if it's the chakra that's connected to getting things done, that would make sense, right? You want your fire to burn like consistently and brightly, but you don't want to burn it out. Obviously, you don't want to have just some hot coals going on. You need a little flame to get things moving. There's I can't think of the name I'm looking for. Hand placement. If you bring the tips of your fingers together and you take the thumbs to point right where that solar plexus chakra would be, and your other fingers are pointing outward with your middle fingers extending right in the middle. This is a great position for meditation if you're looking to shift the energy in your third chakra. Letting this just be one more method of directing energy. Allowing. I'm going to switch sides, guys. I don't want to hold for too long because it ends up making this a lengthy class, and that's not what I'm looking for it to be. Ooh. Notice the difference from side to side. Traditionally, energetically, we associate the left side of the body with feminine energy and the right side of the body with masculine energy. I definitely noticed the difference there between the left and the right. You can close your eyes and just breathe. There are yang postures that are associated with the chakras as well. I've purposely been making this series about being more restorative, practicing self-care, giving the body comfort. And I, again, will come back to the fact that this is a very strange time, I think, for all of us in our lives. And for myself, I think there's definitely been a desire, or at least an understanding that there's a need right now for self-care and comfort. I am not always heeding the call, but I find that energetically, life in general is flowing better when I do. So that's why I'm leaning towards more restorative for now. But maybe we'll do another series. That would be fun to link some vinyasa postures that are chakra related. We could do some short vinyasa series too. I'm not against that. Give yourself a few more breaths here. So maybe you did the left side with the bolster, and it felt good. You could feel the stretch and the opening, and then when you switch sides, you realize you go a little deeper. You could always remove the bolster, you guys. You do not have to do one side the same as the other. The body tends not to be symmetrical, so you want to, all the time, every practice, you want to be listening and adjusting accordingly. If you need to do a little more or a little less from side to side. You can take this as a variation of Sphinx, adding in the quad opener. It opens the body differently though. For this particular chakra, I would recommend, if this is a challenge, then you just take the seated variation of the pose. There's nothing wrong with that. Variations are just that. It's a different approach to the posture for a different body or a different day. You can release that on that right side. We're going to come onto our backs and take twisted root is what they call it in yin. And we've done this posture before. This is where we take our feet to the edges of the mat and bring the knees together. Sometimes we'll do this as a variation on Supta Baddha Konasana. But from here, and I normally do right side first. I'm doing left side because of the way I'm set up to the camera here. So I'm going to let my knees fall to the left. And that feels awkward right here. But you're then going to lift your left foot and put it on top of your right thigh, just above the knee. And you should feel this in the right hip flexor, all the way up through the side body. Okay? And I like to tee or Y the hands. You get a little more length in the stretch that way, but wherever your hands rest comfortably, I would say. I mentioned things like the color and the element that are associated with the chakras. So if you're going to integrate clearing energy or shifting energy as part of your meditation, sometimes visualizing those colors when you're thinking about those chakras can help shift the energy, help bring a little more focus and clarity to the shifts you're trying to create. Feels good. We'll just do a few more breaths on this side and we'll switch it out. I think just one more posture after this. So just a handful. Again, these are specifically designed to address particular chakras. You could, all these different yin series, you could mix up the poses. You could create your own flowing series. You could pick and choose. You might pick 3 of these and stay in each one for 5 minutes on each side. It's up to you. And it's really listening to your body and your intuition. That's one of the issues with having clear energy is that ability to tune into your intuition, to not block it, to not let your brain get in the way, to understand the difference between intuition and feelings, because they're not the same thing. Give it another breath here. And then we'll switch sides. So I'm just going to bring my knees back together. I'm going to let them fall to the right. I'll lift the right foot up, place it on top of the thigh, just above the knee. Ooh, and I feel that on the left side now. I marvel for myself. I marvel at really having a very good understanding of what's good for me and what serves me well. And having been fortunate to have really years and years of practice and trainings and experience in different paths and different methodologies and different ways of integrating into my life things that do serve me well. I'm amazed at as much knowledge and awareness I have around that, how often I still make choices that are not serving me well. And I laugh. I'm hopefully you can relate. It isn't that I don't know. It isn't that I don't know. It's just that I'm not always successful in staying on the path that's serving me best. And I mean, we could argue that several ways. I also understand that making mistakes is one of the biggest ways you learn in life. There's a lot to be said for finding yourselves in positions that make you uncomfortable, that do make you question yourself and your behavior and your motives. Fertile ground for growth. One of my teachers used to often say, fertile ground for growth. But you know, what becomes an issue is when you find yourself making the same mistakes over and over and over again and not gleaning the lesson. Now, they say that the universe will offer you as many opportunities as you need to learn a lesson, and it will present it to you in a variety of different ways. Although you may realize that there's a familiar quality to these different ways that the lesson's coming up. But yeah, ideally there comes a point at which energetically, your body, your mind, your spirit, everything together wholly is accepting a lesson. Give it another breath here. Oh, and then come back to the middle. Go ahead and stretch from head to toe. That feels pretty good. We're going to take a supported fish pose. That was our last one. Oh. So, again, I'm fortunate to have the bolster because that's my favorite. Now, I'll show you first no props fish, right? Palms down, you're sitting on the hands. Elbows come together behind you. And again, big heart opener. You're going to let the head drop back. Now, if this feels okay, if it doesn't, you can go chin to chest. You can. But if it feels okay, the head drops back here. And I can even shift my weight just a little bit for myself so that the crown comes to the floor. But that doesn't work for everyone. So don't think because I'm doing it, it's going to work for you. We have different bodies. If you have blocks, 1 or 2, if you have 1, then I would take that block this way, right between your shoulder blades. So you're going to have to adjust it a little bit. I have a second block, which is kind of awesome, although you could use something else. So I'm going to get that right between my shoulder blades. So again, big heart opening. And I'm going to take this second block and let it rest underneath my head. This way I can get all the opening in the front body, but I can be very relaxed. I don't have to feel any strain on the neck. I don't have any muscle engagement here. It's all opening through the heart center. We've got the third chakra. I mean, this is actually, if you think about the chakra system and where we're trying to create opening, we're affecting several with most of the postures. But remember, today our focus primarily is on the solar plexus. I can definitely feel it there. Were I going to take this pose in my practice, I would stay right here because this has an intensity to it that I can tell is helpful. But since I'm just walking you through and not staying for too long, I'm going to take my bolster again. That'd be your third option, right? You just take this behind you and you've got a supported fish. Whew. Yeah, that's definitely less intense. Okay, so remember, if the idea is to create this opening in space here, then there's nothing wrong with intensity. We're avoiding pain for sure at all costs, but having the willingness and the awareness to move into poses to a depth that is intense, that's part of your practice. That's part of what we're looking to do. And you may find that you have to flirt with that you have to move in and move out, adjust. But we're looking to go right to the very edge of sensation. So where any more would be too much and any less would not be enough. So looking for that. So I was talking about not always following the path that's serving me best. I have come to realize, and I don't even know when, I think I realized this quite some time ago, I get in my own way more than anything else in life. I really have had few obstacles outside of myself. I'm a master at creating them for myself. And, you know, again, challenges offer you the opportunity to build strength, you know, adversity, all those things. But I actually had a teacher, a yoga teacher, who said, when the opportunity, when a challenge arises, wholeheartedly go forward and embrace that. Get everything you possibly can out of it in terms of lesson and strength. But he also said, don't go searching for obstacles. There are plenty. There are plenty in life. You do not need to create your own. But you do have to develop an awareness for when you are creating your own. Right? And again, yoga, right? It's not a stick to beat yourself up with. So awareness, not ridicule, not judgment, not criticism, but noticing, hey, why does this thing keep coming up? And what am I doing? What part of this am I responsible for that I might be able to change or alter? And if I can't, then what needs to happen? Does the situation itself need to change? You know, there's different factors that come into play, and we can't control everything. Just our reaction, just the way we respond. All right, guys, a couple more breaths. And I'm going to have you come out. Take child's pose just for a few breaths as a counter. So you could just flip over. I'm going to go wide knee, hips to heels. Yeah, I feel that. Give yourself a few breaths right here. Good stuff. I had a short meditation to read to you. It's from Journey to the Heart. Melody Beatty. And this one, it's kind of funny. A lot of times I'll just open the book and read. This one's actually today's date. I didn't realize that the first time I read it, but that's what it is. It says, comfort makes everything better. With comfort comes nurturing, genuine acceptance, and love. Comfort doesn't involve any expense. It comes from the heart. It goes right to the heart. Look at how much better you feel when you receive comfort, when you comfort yourself, when you allow the universe to comfort you. Look at how those around you respond when you give comfort. A comforted person feels renewed, healed, genuinely okay. When you're comforted, the pain and stress that has awakened you each morning dissipates. You open your eyes and feel happy to be here, happy to be you. You know, really know that all is well. Finally, you feel safe. When many of us were young, we ran to our mother, grandmother, or aunt to make a skinned knee, a hurt feeling, a bruised ego better. Now we are grown, but there's another mother who can do that too. Some call her the nurturing feminine side of the universe. She is all that is in the universe and in each of us, that is loving, tender, and gentle. And her comfort really does make everything better. Comfort heals. It brings joy to the spirit. Comfort renews power, vitality. Comfort opens you up like the sun unfolds the petals of a fragrant and beautiful flower. Simply put, comfort will make you and those around you happy. Namaste, yeah? Thanks, guys. Vinyasa tomorrow.